Good evening, everyone. It's 7 o'clock. Let's start our meeting. Please stand. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated. So there's no adjustments or changes to this agenda, so I'd like to get a motion to accept it, please.
Well, I move to accept the agenda as presented.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Hopefully everyone's gotten the January 21st minutes. I've reviewed them. I noticed no edits or changes. Has everyone else done the same?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, let's make a motion. Who's going to make it?
So moved.
All right. Jim makes a motion to accept it. Who's seconds?
Second it.
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Communications, correspondence, and I have a surprise on this, but I'll start with a couple of the correspondences that I have. First, I received a letter last week from Joe and Michelle Engel regarding the discussion we had started on possible use of town property for farming and other uses. It was sent, and they are asking that this be discussed at the next meeting of the Board of Selectmen. I'll send a copy to each one of you. I've emailed it already, but just want to let you know he has reached out to there. We'll have to decide whether we're going to do that or not. But that is asked. On our website right now, we are looking for a survey as part of our plan of conservation and development. Dan will talk a little bit when he goes up there, but he will remind everyone to please voice your opinions on what you think of Portland. So log in, let us know what you want the town to be in 10 years when we grow up more. We have between now and March 15th for a Middlesex Chamber of Commerce operating grant opportunity up to $25,000. That will also be on our website. I encourage businesses in town to apply. We've had quite a lot of success over the years with that, and it's for helping to improve your business, and it's something well worth pursuing. Lots of eligibility requirements, but the details will be on the website as well. Want to read a letter from Steve and Heidi Kimball that complimented our public works crew. There was some light post damage on their house at 73 Stephen Tom Road that our crew fixed after some work is done. So they said, "Dear Portland, many thanks to the prompt and professional repairs completed at our home last week. The new post looks great and just in time for dark, freezing, cold evenings." They were so right about that. Now much better coming home than to a dark home. So shout out to our public works. If when we plow or do some work out there or something happens, we go out there and fix it when we're done. So we've always done that, but it's nice when someone acknowledges that as well. We also, I see Andy out there as well. He'll talk about some of this perhaps, but I recently sent out a letter January 15th offering a heat smart program to residents in Portland. And that has been very well received. In fact, probably too well received. We had a resident that reached out yesterday and said that they had tried to make an appointment for that free service, and the days were already past the deadline to get it to be free. So I'm only making the announcement that the letters that did come out with my name on it were real. Some people called about that they weren't sure. It was legitimate, but it's also used for that charge on your bill, the electric bill. This is a program that uses those funds to help make homes more energy efficient. So I believe they were trying to get more vendors in to be able to accommodate during the deadline in order to get a free $75 home improvement estimate. But that's just be aware of that. That will also be on the town website with more details as well. And that is all I have, but I did have a video wanted to show to the Board of Selectmen members and those at home. We could cue that up. Loading. Offering.
The town of Portland's special for its residents because it's got a small town feel. There's a lot of people who have lived in town, who have generations and generations who have stayed here. So it's a small town, but it's very, very friendly, and there's a lot of historic value here. Through our partnership with Kerma, we were able to make Portland a better pedestrian, safe, and friendly environment with the way that we put the pedestrian walkway in to keep vehicle traffic away from the pedestrians as they walk from the parking area to the brownstone quarries.
Regarding risk management, I think Kerma has helped us develop a culture of being more careful in what we do, thinking twice about any decision we make that may affect safety, whether it's road construction, project construction, etc. So we think about those things ahead of time and we try to bake it into the projects that we do and into the way that we are building the town. They've been a really good partner over the years with what can we do better. And I think that's been really helpful because as a town, we're so busy running the operations of the town and getting things done that it's nice to have someone kind of watching our back and watching what we're doing and making sure that we're doing everything right. It gives, I think, the town a great deal of comfort knowing that they're on our side, helping us out.
Kerma and our members, built on trust, shaped by strength.
Right. Good job. Very nice.
Yeah, oh boy.
There we go. Best part of the video is that segue. Anyway, so a shout out to our Public Works Department. That project was something that we did last spring before the season started. We made it safer down on Brownstone Avenue for all the folks that use the Quarry Park. And that is a busy road, Brownstone Avenue, with the truck traffic, et cetera. So we worked together with Sean and his folks as well as ours, created a new traffic pattern, created a new path. It was something small, we thought at the time, but it made a significant difference. And we were honored at a Kerma event on Friday where they showed that video to a couple hundred people there. And that was the Safety Award for 2025. So we're very happy to get that. It came with a $2,500 check. They're going to be asking you, Tom, to make sure they could spend that $2,500 on a celebration for their crew. So just be expecting that. Just want to let you know. But congratulations to those guys.
He's killing you.
I saw. I'm not even looking up right now. Not even looking up right now. There it is. So, all right. Public comments. Any public comment out there? None. Okay. Very good. All right. It is. Oh, beautiful. From Elwin. Hi, Elwin.
Let's see if I can get on here. There we go. Maybe. Well, it says the video won't start, but I just want to take a minute. I just left the meeting. Can you hear me?
Yes. Yep. Can hear you.
I just left the meeting. I've been appointed to the steering committee for the Brownsfield area redevelopment and master plan for downtown Portland. And we're about halfway into the planning process here, and some things have come up to our steering committee that I wanted to make you aware of in advance. And the issue at hand is, with all of the activity of looking at the potentials for economic development in the riverfront area, that Brownsfield area that by the quarries that you're all aware of. One element of that went unattended to date has been determining whether or not the ground itself along the riverfront would support development. The feeling is that it's a rubble field left over from all of the quarrying activity, and we need to determine what development capability that rubble field has. So they want to take a look at what they're calling geotechnical study. I don't know how it's going to be done, whether it's done with a high-tech kind of laser system or more conventional kind of drilling and boring. But I just want you as select board members to be expecting a request for some additional funding to get that information provided to support the study work that's already underway. The current contract doesn't allow for any expansion of work beyond what's already committed, and we're going to need just a tweak here to make sure you can't build something on a pile of sand, and that's an exaggeration, obviously, but we need to determine what we've got to work from as a foundation. So just expect that you're going to hear from members of the committee to get some additional funding. I'll leave it at that.
All right. Thank you, Elwin. We
Yep.
appreciate that. All right, no other public comment? Oh, yeah, go up to, yeah. Name and address?
Yeah.
And talk close to the mic so everyone can hear you.
Norm Iman, 20 Hall Hill Road. Question just now. When we started that years ago, we had money from the state to core sample down there to see how much brownfield was in it. I mean, wouldn't that tell us if there's sand, rubble? To me, I would think those core samples should have showed something instead of spending money again, which I don't know if that's going to cost us or what's going to happen. But I would think with those core samples, back when we were going to clean it all up because there were oil tanks there,
Right.
There should have been some study or a report saying what's in the ground, whether it was sand, rock, whatever. So I would think that would be, we need to go back and see what was on that report.
Yeah, I do remember that back then. I think Deanna Rhodes was here at the time. But they did do some core sampling initially. They had to. I'm not sure the extent of it and where it was, but I know they had done some back then.
I would think they'd have to go down quite a bit, being that it was, there were oil tanks. It was an oil refinery down that way.
Yeah.
So I would think that would be on a report somewhere.
That's a good point. I'll look into it. I'm sure if it was done, we have it somewhere.
I mean, I can't see spending money again if just to redo that. I mean, I would think that would still be
Still would be valid.
get valid,
Yeah.
right? Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. We'll look into it. That's a good point.
Okay.
Got to save every dollar we can.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
Thanks, Norm.
All right.
thank you very much. Appreciate that. All right. No one online? All right. Tom?
Good evening. Evening.
Good evening, Tom.
So, like I distributed the reports. Don't have too much to add this month, but on the revenue side, still waiting on, some of the deposits for tax and the town clerk here to be put into the report for the month. Just on the posting side and waiting for some of those deposits to clear out. So hopefully next month we'll have a little bit better, more clear picture of how some of the taxes came in and things of that nature. One of the positives so far that we looked at is an 0328 structural permits. We're doing pretty good there. It's a budgeted 225 of 153. So hopefully we'll be able to hit that mark the rest of the year. So just wanted to give you an update on that. Going to the expenditures. Page 3 of, again, we've been talking about that, but then town council. We had budgeted about 23,000 for the general town council. So far we spent to date 27. A lot of that was related to the MDC contract negotiations. We also have 014-37025 tax matters. 5,000 budget was spent to date, 7,000. So globally, we need to keep watching, that budget and working through it. There are a bunch of labor contracts that are ongoing, so I'm sure that the labor amount will be started to be utilized soon. So that'll be one we'll have to watch throughout the year here. On page 8, you know, as you notice, there's been so many snowstorms and they've been falling on the weekends and on holidays. So it's not surprising that the overtime line item for the snow removal is over budget. So the global budget is not over yet, as there's still some monies left in the road materials. Generally, the Public Works Department will try to, you know, try to do their best to maintain the global budget, but we'll have to see how that will be. I'm sure they have taken and will need to continually take some more salt in to make sure the salt shed is you know, at a level that needs to be. I wanted to bring that to your attention. On page 11, senior center, just the service contracts. We talked about that last time, but it's about 12,005 has been budgeted, about 9,000, a little over 9,000 has been spent. 3,000 encumbrances. Review those encumbrances. They kind of look like they're things that would still be required to be spent. So, you know, it looks like we're going to hit that number. There was a decent sized HVAC repair in there that had rolled into the new year that we had talked about. It was about 3,000. So that was kind of part of this, why we're hitting so close to the budget at this point. But that includes pest controls and is in there, some software support, and then the Kone elevator support, as well as fire extinguisher support. So bunch of items go into that line item. When some of the improvements with when they improve some of the things at the senior center in that recent CDBG grant, you know, we had anticipated some of those service needs that would be there. So we're trying to come up with that magic number of where, you know, where we should be. Maybe we need to bump that a little bit in a subsequent budget. But I just wanted to bring that up to your attention. And then yeah, I think those were the main areas I want to hit this time. We had hit detailed on some of the other areas last time, but just touching back on those there. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
So, review these numbers as well. If you have any questions that you have, reach out to me. Tom and I will be jumping into the budget season very quickly. We've done some work already. We've got most of these budgets from our departments, but we'll be putting all that together. But if you have questions on this one, reach out.
Is there a way for us to get this earlier in the day? So like we can review it and ask Tom the question while he's here?
Right.
Even if it's just
Right.
emailed to us and, you know, we have time to look at it because,
Absolutely.
you know,
Right.
it's
It's
great
hard
that
to
he told us what he
digest it.
told us, but
And
you can't come up with a question.
And
Right,
also,
so I get-
and also just, you know, I know I had asked before, but it was, you know, obviously, you know exactly which items you're gonna be talking to, right? I mean, there's items that you're pointing out were favorable, there's items that you're watching, and then there's other items that maybe were underwater at that line level, right? So maybe green, yellow, red, or something that we could all point to, but I'll be honest, this is like the third one that budget, you know, the review for the month that I sat in on. And I'm very, very comfortable following financials. I don't even know what page we're on. And maybe we just do that green, yellow, red or something in advance, you know, so that to your point, we then can show up. We already saw the green, yellow, red. We can start formulating our questions because you know where our concerns are. I mean, you know it off the top of your head. We don't. And if we're going to sit here for, you know, 3-4 minutes to hear it, I mean, we got to know what to ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Absolutely. Understood. Understood. All right. Very good. All right, under new business. So this agenda from today, you should have a copy of the kind of new format. Based on the feedback from this board and others in town, we have kind of updated this to the way it's been to this right now to cover the active projects we have. So that'll be under number 9 as it's listed out. If we need to tweak or modify this, we'll see how it evolves over the next couple of meetings, but it does keep the active projects talked about and discussed. here. That way people at home know what we're talking about. They can pay attention. We may not get a lot of people that watch it at this time live, but there's a heck of a lot of people that will watch it the next day or watch it afterwards and pay attention to it. So, so I think that's important. I think it's a good idea. That was a good suggestion from all of you and for residents that also pay attention. I think they were right about that. We do try to be as transparent as we can here in terms of what we do, so everyone knows and there's no surprises. So,
Mike, what was the actual wording that got changed?
Number 9 on the front page.
we're now adding in there.
Oh, the status report.
Yeah, we're adding that we've
That was
added
it?
kind of ongoing or active business
Got it.
in town with town projects, so that adds to it. Now, we still can, under general informal discussion, we could talk about things there as well. There's other opportunities to bring in other discussions, but that way it kind of lists it out, and if someone wants to look at the agenda, they know exactly what may be talked about tonight. Depends on the detail, but at least they know.
Well, we talked about this last week,
Right.
and one of the ones I'm glad to see, the school renovation project will be carried over on this. But a perfect example was, there was a nice article in the River East last week
Okay.
about the discussion we had, but I believe the first line in that text was, although it wasn't on the agenda,
Right.
a good discussion was had, and that's inappropriate. I mean, with people need to know we're gonna talk about it, or potentially talk about it.
Right.
So now I think this will
Yeah.
cover that.
It covers that, and that way, people will do that.
Right.
Agreed. All right, refunds of excess payments. Bobby, you're on.
I'll make a motion for a refund of excess payment for Nissan Infinity Lease Trust LLC, $400.10.
I'll second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstentions, motion passes.
Motion for a refund of excess payment, Toyota Lease Trust, $91.73.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries.
Motion for a refund of excess payment, Charlotte Carlson, $36.32.
Seconded.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, abstention, motion passes.
Motion for refund of excess payment for Marla and Aldo Pantano, $31.03.
Seconded.
All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, old business, active and ongoing business and town projects. Appointments or reappointments, do we have any tonight?
I don't have any.
I have one.
Okay.
To appoint Janet Ellsworth to the Committee on Solidarity to fill the vacancy by Liz Sabino. Janet has been actively attending those meetings, as we understand, and Cindy Tyler, the chair, was very much in favor of Janet filling that vacancy.
Any further discussion?
Do you want a second? I'll second it if you're making the motion.
Making a motion, your second. Any further discussion? I'll call for the vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention, motion passes. Welcome, Janet. All right. See, Andy's here. So Andy has an update on our landfill situation. He has some other gentlemen here as well, but Andy, jump on up and explain.
Thanks, Mike. And just a quick welcome to Vinny, Dave, Andrea for stepping up and serving on the board. I've said this before, my dad was town manager in Weathersfield. Public service is a lot of hours, often thankless. Thank you for stepping up. Okay, so let me address the Heat Smart campaign issue, Mike, that you brought up. Just to give you a background, you may have read about it. Portland engaged with 3 other area towns in the River Cog Heat Smart campaign, which the goal is energy efficiency, saving money for residences. There's also components for business. We are we're a little embarrassing. We're suffering from a great deal of success. I gave a presentation at the Waverly Center on the 8th to their tasty treats with one of the vendors who joined me. Ann Lilburn of the River East did a wonderful write-up. And whereas we had 23 signups for like the preceding 6 months, we got 60 in the span of like 10, 12 days. Now we're working with 2 vendors, and in the letter, the dates were call before March 31st and have it arranged before April 30th and the copay of $75 would be waived. It's a nicely subsidized program by the state of Connecticut, Mike, as you said, through everybody's electricity bills. Why not sign up for it? You're contributing to it. But what happened is we and other towns had an avalanche of signups. So earlier this week, the people in the River Cog, the Heat Smart folks, my cohorts in other towns, the Eversource rep, we all knocked heads and said, you know, what are we going to do? Well, we brought on another vendor, and that's going to give us a significant number of sign-up opportunities, or I should say HES visit opportunities before April 30th. Okay, so if for those people who are watching tonight, my message is sign up quick. Okay, if you still got the letter from First Selectman Pelton, there's a number to call, there's a website to visit, there's a QR code that you can follow. Also, if you don't have that, I got a humorous call from someone, their spouse had shredded it. There's a number and website also on the town website under the clean energy page. Okay. However, despite the fact that we've brought on another vendor to handle this, we're still locked into the dates. So if hundreds of people call, we're going to be in the same situation. It's, you know, we didn't really expect it to be this successful. We're happy that it is. Call soon. Okay. And last thing on that issue, I just want to give a special shout out to the person who called your office, because I knew nothing about the backlog, and I'm a little embarrassed to say that, but you know, it's like we're all trying, and it was a dropped ball, shall we say? But because that person called in, we kind of, me and the folks that I described earlier, we all kind of kicked it in and met and came up with a workaround. So that's what we got. Any comments about that before I segue into the landfill?
Only thing I'll add to it is even the $75 cost of that still makes it a valuable service. They're getting hundreds of dollars, potentially thousands of dollars of discounts on improvements to the house. So it's still worthwhile at 75.
Absolutely. And the older your house, like mine, built in 41, I mean, we probably saved, you know, a high end. We probably saved close to $1,000 a year just on what they did in 4 hours. And then you have options to go forward with other rebates, not part of the $75 copay, whether you take it or not, but other things which can give you rebates on insulation and other stuff. It's a great program. Okay, so segueing to the landfill solar, in just a moment, I'll have our solar consultants, Alan Sabins and Rob Klee, come up and join me. But let me give you a little bit of how we got here. And Bob Weir, the Grateful Dead, passed away last week, so I'll honor him by saying, what a long, strange trip it's been. And this idea for a project on the landfill is, you know, it's almost a decade old. And we first, you know, threw our hat in the ring, like I think it was 20 or 21. And suffice it to say, we had numerous tries to get our application in. On the third try, we were successful. That was in the fall of 23. So in December of 23, Susan Bransfield signed off on that. And we were told that we would have construction beginning within 12 months. So 12 months comes and goes. And we were told that a substantial upgrade to the interconnection needed to take place, and there was a hiccup. So one thing, you know, we tried this thing, we tried that thing, and right now we are in a situation where we can have a partial acceptance of a certain amount of the solar array, and Alan and Rob will go into the details. and then the possibility of having the remaining section come to our benefit, but it won't be built on the landfill. It'll be built someplace else in Eversource territory. And if you're sitting there thinking, what the heck did he just say? I'm with you on that. It's really kind of, well, when I was a middle school teacher, I would have said it's challenging. So, but there is an end in sight. And what I want to ask of you folks before I turn it over to Alan Rob for the details is we are in somewhat of a time constrained window to get this moving. We have to the end of the year, December of this year, to have things energized, or else the whole project goes away. We have until early March to, there's a window for the application that we need to meet. So that's in like 28 days that we had that. So sorry, skipping around here a little bit, apologize for that. But what I would like you to consider, not right this second, but after you hear what Rob and Alan have to say, is I'd like the Board of Selectmen to give Mike, to give your blessing to Mike as first selectman to work with me, Alan, Rob, Green Skies, our vendor, to cobble together the best package for Portland for the solar array at the landfill and other things which we might take advantage, which I kind of feel like an NFL coach. It's like for a draft pick to be named later. That's sort of the way this is. I had hoped that we had hoped to have a more solid package for you this evening, but events are kind of moving fast and we don't have something 100% solid right now, but we hope to have something really solid in the next week or so. And my concern, we could come back to you on the 18th and give you an update, but the windows are somewhat tight. So again, I'd like to ask you to give Mike your blessing to work with the crew and go forward when we have that concrete plan. Let me, if you've got questions, let me ask you to hold off on those for a bit. And Alan and Rob, if you want to work your magic.
Good evening.
Good to see you again.
Good to see you. Some of you again, others
Can you
is
say your name?
sure. Hi, I'm Rob Klee. I'm from Klee Sustainability Advisors, along with Alan Sabins of CSW Energy. We are the town's clean energy consultants from a technical engineering, financial and legal perspective. So we're here to support the town through its clean energy journey, including the one that Andy has mentioned at the landfill, which has been a long journey for you. And one we often, I can use the long strange trip it's been now. It's also often called the solar roller coaster because it feels like you're going up and down in many regards. And Alan, do you want me to start and I'll hand to you or? Sure. Okay, because I'm up here already. And as Andy said, we had been working with the town for quite some time. By the fall and end of 2023, the landfill project was coming into some clarity. It had secured its incentive from Eversource at a size of about 990 kilowatt AC. So that's a size that fit well on the landfill. It fit well with the incentive programs. It was at the right sort of band in terms of being a competitively sized project. Because it was smaller, it had fewer regulatory approvals to go through as well. So we thought we were on a good path, but as Andy mentioned, Eversource unfortunately has decided to make significant upgrades to the general distribution grid system in this area, and originally said they were going to do those upgrades in 2024. And then they came back to Green Skies and said, no, the Green Skies was the vendor selected competitively by the town to build the project. Eversource said, they'll make the upgrades in 2024, and then they said they'll make them in 2025. And then we have now most recently learned that those upgrades may be pushed to 2027. But again, we've seen the pattern here from Eversource of those upgrades keep getting pushed later and later. And unfortunately, that has required Green Skies can go ahead with the project on the landfill at a smaller size, roughly a third less, more like 600 kilowatts instead of the 990 kilowatts, under the system, regardless of what Eversource is doing, and without being beholden to waiting for Eversource to get around to its upgrades. As Andy mentioned, that keeps that award that was received in 2023. It has an expiration date at the end of 2026. That would allow that project to go forward at the smaller size. The challenge is that's 1/3 less of a solar array, meaning about a third less of the potential financial benefit to the town of Portland. And that's where we are asking for the ability to work with the town and to Green Skies to see if there's a way to try to bridge some of the gap created by having a smaller size at the landfill. So that's really the request, is that authorization for the first selectman to negotiate an agreement with Green Skies that will keep the landfill project moving on that smaller size, around 600 kilowatt, and associate a different Green Size project somewhere in Eversource territory to Portland and Portland's account that tries to fill the gap that has been unfortunately created by Eversource's delay on the upgrades and requiring your landfill project to have to shrink in size. I always look back to Alan to make sure that I cover pretty much anything you'd like to. Okay. And that's a lot, and it involves multiple sort of programs and policies. So we're here to answer any questions that you have, and even go back in time. I know others, some of you on the council have seen us and been through this journey with us, but we're happy to catch other folks up as needed.
What would be the realistic timing of getting a reduced solar on that landfill? Like, when will it be started and up and running, you think?
So if Eversource, so basically the current status right now between Green Skies and Eversource is Eversource has basically communicated on the path of down the path of this larger project. So the collective thought and hope is that if Green Skies were to go back and say, we don't need the upgrades, we intend to interconnect at the reduced system size, then Eversource would take probably a month or two to recalibrate what they were planning. And from that point, there would be some amount of time, probably 2 to 3 months, for Green Skies to procure all the material, solidify the permit. That's the other gating item here, is the actual building permit through the town. But there would hopefully be construction sometime in the fall timeframe. Whether or not everything could be completed to the point of receiving permission to operate this calendar year, I would say that may be kind of low. But physical activity, that would be the hope by going this smaller route.
That was the word I was going to think about here.
There is the potential for an extension for the landfill project relative to the state incentive. In order to get that, Green Skies and Portland would need to submit memos to the ombudsman, who is an independent body overseeing the program, basically giving them the overview of where we are, where things are intended to go. And if the ombudsman approves that, there would be a 6-month extension that would come from that. So we'd really be looking at December plus 6 months.
And I'll just,
I was gonna say, based on sort of like the pattern now from Eversource of just continuing to delay the program. is there any reason to have any confidence that a 6-month extension would make a difference with Eversource doing the full upgrade, or are we gonna be right back where we started at? I tend to think we're gonna be right back where we started at, and that's, but
The ombudsman is independent and would likely, given everything that's going on and the full view of the project, would offer or approve the extension. I don't see Eversource
that's
sort
what
of
it
bending.
sounds like. So the extension, basically, this is gonna require them to make an investment that right now they just kind of keep pushing down the road. Okay. And then I guess the other questions that I would ask would be, if we're looking at splitting this now into 2/3 at the landfill, which still becomes a good use for that property, and I think we don't want to put that at risk. What are the odds we can find the other property to do this? And what are the cost impacts for doing that? To do this within the time frame that we've got to meet the schedule.
If I can just tag on to Jim's question, because it was the same thing I was gonna ask. That 2/3 at the landfill, we're missing the 1/3. Presumably, the incentive we received was for the whole project at the landfill. So is there any way for us to guarantee that that extra third will still be done with the incentive dollars that were originally approved for it?
So that's what we're in the process of negotiating through with Green Skies. And to maybe take one step back, the project at the landfill is participating in a part of the state program that is called virtual net metering. Some of you that were here prior recall that. What that essentially means is the solar project will reside at the landfill, but will point to what's called beneficial accounts, which are all over town and nowhere near the landfill. And what they'll do is they will have basically credits on those utility bills that have been assigned to them, a portion of the benefit from that project. And what Green Skies is currently proposing is, let's move forward with the landfill project at 2/3 of its size. And then they have other projects, other inventory of sites. It only has to be in Eversource territory. It doesn't necessarily have to be in a Portland zip code. So they have projects elsewhere where they could take those same accounts and take them from the landfill and apply them to those projects. And then to answer another question, what is the cost associated? There isn't. They're just taking those accounts and allocating them to a separate project. So it's literally as if they're airlifting them out and dropping them into another.
I think which makes sense, right? I think there was some, I forget what the term is for it, but I know there was some solar like that was done in some other states where they do a solar farm and people kind of buy into
Exactly.
their particular bills. Yeah. And it doesn't matter where it's physically located.
Exactly.
I guess the only question is that, so based on the fact that there's an existing inventory of projects, you'd have to look and see if there's site capacity to add on enough solar panels for us to get our other third.
That's exactly what we are trying to hone in with Green Skies on. And to Andy's point, similar to what we've done now a few times together, Green Skies is preparing their inventory of projects to be submitted into this auction that opened this week. So all of this sort of came to a head last month when Green Skies asked Eversource, hey, are we on track for this year? And they replied, no, it will be next year. And it was more of like a hypothetical, we're targeting next year. And then that's when Green Skies raised the flag to us to say, I think we're better off going at that smaller system. And then in addition, if you remember the NRES auctions that we've participated in prior, this year's auction opened this week and closes in another 5 weeks. So that's why we're trying to bring all this together once so that we're not here again and again and again.
So would you say that, when you look at that inventory, would you say that the odds of finding that capacity amongst the other projects is probably better than the odds of Eversource completing in 2027?
100%.
Okay, so.
1,000%. And I would just add that I would say less so if it weren't for the fact that these upgrades that they've been proposing have been kicked
Yeah.
down the road 3-4 years at this point.
Yeah, and I know there was some stuff about some of the reimbursements and, there's some stuff going on at a different level that's
Yes.
probably causing them to contract some of the projects they're doing.
Exactly.
Question, does the landfill still comply? I know there were issues with the degree of the slope and the size of that.
All that has been resolved.
Okay, all right. Now, is there a potential, okay, we go with the smaller array. Is there a potential down the road that maybe we can go back and add to that?
Potentially, however, the size that has been provided, the 600 kilowatt AC, is what Eversource came back to Green Skies with based on the current infrastructure. And what they said was, if you'd like to go bigger, then you can either wait, or if you want to go now, go bigger. Then I think the price tag was something like $1.5 million that Green Skies would pay to upgrade the circuit capacity to take that larger system on. So I would I would tell you that 600 kilowatts is pretty much the size. That's the max.
So just from a scale, 1 megawatt is like 300 houses. Does that sound right?
Probably 750.
Double that.
Yeah.
Okay. So this would be 60% of that.
Yeah,
Don't leave the refrigerator door open.
Just to
Not
give
at
you
my
an,
house.
give you an idea, I believe the reduced system size, their year one production, I'm going off memory, but it's somewhere around 1.3 million kilowatt hours. So a sizable production yield.
What does that translate into dollars at current rates right now? Savings to the town.
So the original system size, that 990 kilowatts AC, roughly speaking, was about a $100,000 benefit per year for Portland's accounts, yielding about $2 million over that term. So take 30%, 35% off of that is what we're looking at the moment.
About 60 to 70,000.
Yeah.
I guess the other question would be is, so you're trying to resolve finding the other capacity so that you can submit within this 5-week window. So this is something we would know really relatively quickly whether or not you were successful.
100%.
Okay.
It's twofold. One is trying to keep that landfill project on the rails and moving forward, and also trying to figure out if there's a sidecar project that makes sense.
Yeah, and I would think that it makes sense for us to keep the landfill project
Yeah.
moving. It's been so, it's a good use for that
Agreed.
location.
Yeah.
And I think we should try to, I like that. It's a good term for it, the sidecar project. It's
Yeah.
But that's probably a higher priority than getting the upgrades done in time. More questions?
No,
Okay.
Still hearing the song in the back of my head. Well, it's a long,
And we
strange
and we
ride.
feel pretty comfortable we'll be successful at auction this time around. I know that was a problem last time.
I don't, you ought to take.
This way, does this hurt our chances at auction?
So this year in particular, for a whole host of reasons, there is one auction, not two. Historically, there had been 60% of the program allocation in the spring and 40% in the fall. This year is 100% right now. So if there is a shot, this is the shot.
Okay.
Make a motion, while Mike could work with it, it's okay.
Yeah, I'll second that. I think we got to keep the project moving forward.
A lot of years involved in it.
Right.
Yeah.
I also think it's a good idea. Yeah. Keeps it going. All right, we ready for the vote? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstention? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I'll
Thank
keep
you.
everyone posted on
Thank you,
the
guys.
progress.
Thank you guys for
Thank
the
you.
time
Good
explaining
to
that.
see you.
It's good.
And we'll leave this item on as old business for
Until it's
reports
resolved.
as we go.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Well, now we're gonna need to find out whether or not we get the other third.
There you go. All right, 9C, update school renovation project.
I
So-
can be very quick on this.
All right.
What I would recommend to the board and to anybody that's listening, tomorrow evening at 5 o'clock, a special Board of Education meeting has been scheduled to be 100% school renovation project presentation from the superintendent for the board's entertainment to approve it at their next regularly scheduled meeting. So I know what's gone into this. I know all the research that's gone into it, and not just the buildings and the locations, but the impacts on budgets and everything else. I assume a lot of that will be discussed tomorrow night. It's probably going to be a pretty thorough presentation. So if you want to know anything about this project with some fine detail, tomorrow night might be the time to get some information on it. Again, it's 5 o'clock. I know that it's on Zoom as well. So you can go into the Board of Education Zoom meeting and do it. So, and because it's on Zoom, I would presume on Zoom, you would get to go back and look at it after the fact. But no, I think it will be a very informative presentation. So I just urge anybody that wants to log in or attend or watch it after the fact at the high school library.
Very good.
So I was planning to attend. I mean, is there, if there were other members of the board planning to attend, does that become an issue?
You have to be careful, yeah.
Yeah, so we're.
Everyone can go, you
Yeah.
just can't discuss it.
Right.
Yeah.
And I'll be there.
None of us
Not all
can be
sit in a
there.
group, yeah, we just don't.
And I'll be there. I'm the liaison on the Board of Ed, so I'll be there anyway.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, I just sit there.
we
and
just
take
can't have
notes, that's all.
discussions in the crowd about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just want to make.
All right. Yeah, please pay attention to that. Again, this is a generational kind of project that everyone needs to listen and hear everything about.
Yeah, I said this last meeting, I'll say it again. We're in a very unusual time. A lot of things between the last capital improvement committee and this task force. Things changed at the state level with new legislation that gives additional and state incentives to this. Incentives like I don't think we've ever seen before, and we may not see again. I mean, one of those buildings could be in the 80 percentile state reimbursement range. So it's really good to hear what superintendent has to say.
Good. Okay. So what I'd also like to do as well, I've spoken to Charles, and I'd like to schedule a special joint meeting with us and the Board of Education on the 18th at 5:30. There's gonna be a presentation of all the numbers and facts on this as well. We are right now expecting the final numbers from Fryer and from the Downs Construction in terms of what the costs are. We're getting the bonding information together. We're getting the information on taxes that we anticipate in Portland, grand list growth, et cetera. So those are all being put together right now. We expect those hopefully within the next week or so, but certainly by the 18th, we'll have those numbers. We'll have those final numbers and be able to answer the questions that I think our residents are going to have about this project. So that should give us enough time. It'll be at the high school library at 5:30. We'll still have our meeting here at 7 o'clock that night. So I think an hour and 15 should give us enough time to go through that. Charles will give a presentation of the numbers at that point, but it'll be interactive. I invite residents in town to watch, show up if you can there as well, but pay attention to that one. So I guess I'd like to look for a motion.
Make the motion.
Second that motion. Any further discussion? All right, all those in favor? Opposed? Abstention? Motion
This is
passed.
for that
This
5:30
is for
meeting.
the
anyway.
5:30
yep.
special joint meeting.
Right.
with
At the
Board
high
of Ed and
school.
Board of Selectmen on February 18th
18.
at the high school.
Yeah.
All right, very good. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. All right, I'm gonna do a change as we're going through this. Am I allowed to do that, parliamentarians?
No.
To make I can't do a change on sequence? All right, Dan, you're out of luck. Update on the Nordic Spot. Only update I have on that is they are doing interviews right now and talking to people about potential jobs in November. So I've already passed on at least a dozen Portland residents or Portland folks to them. So they're starting the process of vetting people that may be hired I don't know what the final number is going to be of Portland residents that they're hiring, but I believe the total number of folks that are employed there might be 120 plus when it's in full operation. I'll get those numbers later, but it'll be a good source of jobs for town residents. So that's
Remind us again, what's the target date for opening?
the target soft opening is November, and they're still on that target. The storm slowed them down a little bit, but they are working 6-7 days a week, it seems, down there. So it is moving quickly. If you haven't been past it in a while, they've already got the buildings framed up, the roof on there, and they've already done all the hard work underground. So you'll see a lot more happening a lot quicker over the next couple of months, especially. But again, they're targeting November. So by the end of the year, which is fantastic. So that's it on there. I'll update as it goes along. Braden Place, just a couple updates. Jersey Mike's, obviously, they are interviewing right now. They're looking to open up in the next month or two. Dan, when he goes up there, will maybe fill us in on the details. They are looking to get a certificate of occupancy for the second building sometime in the next couple weeks. That's still being worked on. We'll know for sure shortly, but they have, I believe, all the floors except for the bottom floor substantially finished. But they're working on that as quick as they can. And that is it on there. River Access Project. The storm slowed them down by a little bit, but they should be starting up soon. It's still targeting end of April, early May to have that project done. So that's moving along quickly. They've got the road at least halfway down to the river. So things have moved really quickly on that. Fence will go up in toward the end of the project, so probably early April. They'll put the fence part of the project as well, but it's moving along nicely. They're trying to add some brownstone to the project, whether as guides or somehow semi guardrails along the project. But we're trying to incorporate brownstone into this project as well. I know Lou Pear and Rick have kind of worked on this project, but Rick, as you know, has raised over $10,000 of funds for this project, and he's matched up to $10,000 of his own funding. So his efforts have created at least $20,000 right now toward extra projects, benches, other things for this project. So it's great to see a lot of communities come together with this. This project, I'm particularly interested in getting it out there and getting done. I want to get my kayak out there sometime in May as well. So very excited to get back to the river. Airline Trail. I passed out to all of you one of the new folding accordion maps for the Airline Trail. That is one of the newest things they've done. We're still working with Eversource to get the next step through their property. They have another meeting of their staff that will decide the fate and how quickly we'll get that done in the next week or so. I met with one of the executives last week at a chamber event, and she tells me that she's optimistic that we will either have the design approved that we've currently given to them, that your brother has done, or they will give us specific guidelines as to where we can or cannot put the trail if this one gets turned down for specific reasons. So,
You're talking about what, phase 2?
yeah, for phase 2, yes.
So do we have an update from them? Because I see how the map shows continuity, which is what we're striving for. Do we know where the East Hampton portion is, that the interconnect between Portland and East Hampton?
I do not have, yes, that will be started late spring. They're anticipating it'll be done early summer.
Good.
So yes, saw their town manager earlier today. So that one, so that should be, at least some movement will happen. And at least you can get from Portland up to Willimantic once East Hampton puts their part in. So
yeah,
that'll be exciting. All right, updated POCD. I have Dan here to fill us in.
How you doing, Dan?
Dan Beret, town planner. POCD is coming along. The first planning and zoning meeting of every month is dedicated a portion of that to POCD. This month is the Senior Center Advisory Board and the Housing Authority are coming in to discuss housing and a few other things. So that's been moving along well. It looks like we will have a public workshop, one of potentially two, probably in March. We should nail down the date tomorrow at the P&Z meeting. A direct mailer as part of the BAR grant is going to go out at the end of the month to publicize that, as well as the POCD survey and both public events. So the POCD is coming along. We are going to invite BOS and EDC back again, full BOS to get your input and give you a little more time to prepare before that, but that won't happen until we go through the rest of the boards and commissions. So we're looking maybe early summer, something like that, that we would invite you guys back. But otherwise, it's going pretty good. We're a little low on the surveys, so please get that out. But I expect the direct mailer to really give us a boost in the surveys. And as well, I'm trying to get more survey information around town to hear the library, senior center, and some of the businesses, just to drum up some more support for that. But otherwise, I'm pretty pleased with our consultants. They're doing a good job, and I think we're starting to get in the formulations of a good plan.
Any questions on POCD? All right. Anything you want to add to Nordic or Brainerd? Two topics we've already covered.
Yeah, so I mean, Brainerd on the CO, part of the question comes down to whether they'll be able to CO it floor by floor. They'd like to start on the 4th floor and work their way down so that they can start filling the units faster. From the town's perspective, we just want to make sure it's safe, and all the things that are necessary in completion of phase 2 are done. I will point out, I believe the tax abatement requires the shell of Sage to be complete when phase 2 is before the CO is granted. Now, my department would not hold up granting a CO if they're eligible for a CO. So that would fall to the BOS to act if they are out of compliance with the tax agreement. In talking to the project manager, I know the windows are coming in. They'll be put in place. And then he thought all it really required was a coat of paint. I don't know how detailed the completion of the shell was hashed out between BOS and the developer in terms of what sort of threshold needed to be made, whether if window replacement, the roof being done, and a new coat of paint was sufficient. So that's something that you guys should consider. No update on Nordic Spa, although I am impressed about how fast they're moving.
Do you have any further update on the next phase of Brainerd? Do they have any approvals for the retail area yet?
Oh, in building B?
Yeah.
So the approvals that I'm aware of right now is Chipotle.
Yeah.
Bird Code.
Yeah.
That's a hot Nashville style chicken sandwich place. There's, I think, 5 or 6 of those. It's a Connecticut brand. And then there was one other national food place that he was talking to. I can't really talk about. And then he had the Montessori 175 child Montessori school. So all that was approved, well, not approved, but the modification to make those things happen was approved by P&Z in December, along with the additional story of, for lack of a better term, assisted living or 55 and over space, healthcare institution space. The shift of the building A to the east to open up the view of the historic structures, and then the removal of the sassafras tree and replacement with, I believe, a red maple in a slightly different location.
Do you have an idea when construction will start on B?
On B?
Yeah.
I would imagine pretty quick. My understanding is I think they want to get the foundation of A in with the crew they have in now and then start B around the same time. So my understanding is when they finish F, they're going to mobilize right into phase 3. And my understanding is the B buildings from the tax abatement have to be CO'd prior to building A.
Do you know what the occupancy is of the first residential building now?
I think it's pretty much full.
Okay.
Yeah, they had good success there. I know residents in E already, some are going to move to F already. But it seems like they had some pretty good success with the first round. And I would imagine when more of the amenities come online, pool, the Brainerd House itself, and more shops come in, I think the demand would only increase. Okay. So it's going pretty good right now.
Retail on the bottom of that?
The first, there's 10,000 square feet of retail space on F.
Okay. Is there anything?
No, he had a physical therapist, but he lost them last year. Just the time. It just took too long.
Any other questions?
I do. My understanding is he is committed to trying to get a gym in that space, in part of that space, not only for as an amenity for the residents, but I think it has a good it would be good for the healthcare institution to have a physical fitness center so close.
Because there is no retail in building A now, correct, on the first floor? That's all for the building itself for healthcare?
Correct. So the front face of that building
Yeah.
is all institutional space. I think a meeting room, a little movie theater, a dining room, health offices for various different vendors or services that will be provided there. And then there will be some apartments on that level as well.
Do you know roughly how much square footage that is that we lost in retail?
So that was in the prior modification, and I believe we went from like, and don't hold me too close on this. It was like 115, 120, down to, and this is complicated, down to 85-ish, but all of the healthcare institution is technically considered commercial space. So you technically gained a lot more.
I don't consider that commercial space.
Well, I don't.
I mean,
I
originally the first floor was retail facing the parking lot. It was
Correct.
supposed to be stores and offices. And
Yeah, so that is no longer the case.
Okay.
I don't know. Again, I know how zoning looks at things, and I know different agencies or departments, like our building department or fire marshal, could code something as a certain use, and we'll call it a different use.
Yeah.
And those things can live happily together. I don't know how Rich would assess the building. If it's zoning considers it a commercial use. I don't know if that affects the rate or anything like that.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks a lot for staying.
No problem.
Appreciate
Have a good
that.
night, guys. And ladies.
All right, update on water, town well, and I guess the whole process with MDC. We, as I mentioned at the last meeting, we have a contract with MDC officially signed. Thank you for all those that helped with this. Thank you for the board for supporting that. It gives us a 3-year contract with some flexibility to get the well up and running. We are waiting on one final report for the pump test that we did. We were supposed to have it within a week and a half or a week. It has not come yet. That will be the last piece of the puzzle before we can take the next step. We are expecting the RFP to come back for the well house and the pump house.
Hey, Mike, I know I asked that, and I believe you called Rich. What did he give for any kind of an update?
He's waiting to talk to them to get an answer from those guys. He don't want to give me a date. The date certain that we had asked before was for the 10th. He just hasn't confirmed it with me yet. So
Okay. We need to make sure we impart a sense of urgency on.
I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
It's vital. We do have an outline of our plan in terms of from now until the well's up and running and functioning. We should be able to meet that. It's a tight deadline, but we should be able to meet that. So that is working toward it. Further updates will follow, but the next step will be.
Vin spoke to this at the last meeting, I think, and I think Jim has spoken to it previous to that. I mean, I had some pretty significant multi-million-dollar projects I worked on in my days in the working world. And I know that a timeline with detailed milestones is critical for those monitoring a project, those working on a project. I don't know how we get this thing started, but I think there needs to be creation of a very detailed timeline with milestones for this project. Because we have we've said we have a very tight end date on this thing. And, and Water and Sewer Commission, I mean, they oversee this, and I think it would be better for them to have a timeline and some very detailed milestones to follow too. The updates are great, but I just want something there so if there's a red flag coming, we need to see it weeks before it goes up the flagpole.
100%.
They need to do this for themselves.
Right.
Right? We just need to see the summary. There's obviously we have Jim's obviously an expert here. You know a lot about the subject, but we just need to get an executive summary. And I'm going to keep hammering it home, but this is probably now like the 4th time that we've mentioned it, and yet I don't see anybody here. are we gonna see someone at some point coming in here for 3-4 minutes and giving us an update in a consistent format once a month? If the answer is no, just say no, and I'll stop asking.
Are you asking in terms of this specific project?
Yes, yes.
So, yes, so we do have, let me at least some of the, we have a very specific plan with the state in terms of getting this well up and running with the milestones that we have to do. We do also have coming to all of you, because it was mentioned at the last meeting, we will have an update from all the public works projects that outlines it, dates, times, costs, etc. We started that with Rhino Halpern last year. That outlines everything. That is being updated right now. We don't have it tonight available for you, but it updates in detail the cost of the project, the next milestones, etc. So that will be provided to you
And
guys. next time.
this is the milestones for this well project.
Well, not just for this project, but also for the other ones that we have as well. Like, for example, we have a sidewalk project. I brought some information over there for us. But it's for all the projects that we have going on right now.
So
So it's transparent so everyone can see that.
okay, but we were kind of talking about the town well, right? That we drilled, and we're talking about having, obviously, the group that's handling it. I mean, I'm assuming that it's not going to be what's that saying? A camel is a horse designed by committee. It becomes, who's the one person who owns it? That one person needs to have a project timeline. We keep talking about it, and then an executive summary for our consumption, right?
And from my perspective, I would like to have in my possession a timeline with milestones on it. I mean, I'm not talking about a 50-page report. I'm talking about at the beginning or at the end of every project I've ever worked at, within the paper report, there is a fold-out sheet that is a timeline with milestones. And, so whenever they come in to give us the updates, I just want to look at the milestones and be able to check off that these things are done. I would like to see if we already have something from the state, if the state has milestones and deliverables for this well project, could we get a copy of it at our next meeting?
It's already in place. We went through with them. Jim, you were involved in that as well. So we have a detailed plan as to what the timelines are, when they need it. From the RFP right now, that's already been put out, to the time that we're pumping the well and we get approved and we get the permits. So that is in place with this project.
So are we going to see a project owner for the town come here, or is it going to be making it up as we go about because I just don't, unless we have a person with a certain format coming in and just reporting on it, I just don't get it. How it's going to be, we'll be talking about one piece of the project and that piece of the project, as opposed to someone coming in and giving us the red flag indicators that we need to know, and are there obstacles in the way that maybe we can eliminate, but someone behind the scenes has to be working the project.
Well, we just heard in a presentation a few minutes ago on our solar project, how it just keeps getting pushed down the road.
That's right.
We don't have that luxury with this situation. We have based upon the negotiation with MDC, we have a drop dead date. We have to be done. And, as we said, I believe you said at the last meeting, Van, you need to start at that drop dead date and build your timeline working backwards. And we need to see that.
I will tell you, there is no one in this room beside me that is more aware of that right now, having worked with MDC and tried to muscle our way through this thing to get us to the point we are. So 100% agreed. I understand the circumstances. There's a lot that the town has voted to become water independent. And we have funding available that we are working to get that done. We have the outline, we have the plan that the state is saying that these are the deadlines that we can make. So what I will do is I will share with you what we have already, so that everyone knows that. What I'll ask Jason to do, because he's also involved in it as well, or whatever point person is going to make the most sense, that will get you updated on this particular project at every meeting that we have, so you understand what the milestones are and how it's going. But those are in place right now, and we're at the stages right now where we are waiting for one of the reports to come in, and then we're waiting for the RFP so we can choose that day or soon after who's going to be building the well house and how we're going to get that in.
Right, but I guess to Vin's point, I think it's as simple as he's looking for, who owns this, who manages this project? Is there a project manager that you would turn to say, I need the info. Is there someone in the town that it's there, they own it?
It can't be you, Michael.
No, I understand this.
So that's who, is there? I mean, who
Well,
is?
GCA is the consultant that basically is the geological, GCA, Rich DeRocher. Okay, okay, I think we need to have him in here because we're getting a lot of pushing the can down the road.
Yeah.
Waiting for this report, waiting for that report.
Right.
We gotta hold his feet to the fire. And we should, you know, and I agree with John, there has to be benchmarks, but I think there also has to be some ramifications if those benchmarks aren't met.
Well, I agree. And if you look at a timeline with benchmarks, there would always be those little connective lines below the main timeline. And essentially what that is telling you is you're at benchmark number 2 out of 10. But at benchmark number 2, you could be working on the pre-stages of benchmark number 5, 7, and 9.
Sure.
That's right.
And that's something that I feel I don't have any comfort level right now.
Right.
That we're at that point.
Where are the dependencies, right? Where are the things we can work in parallel?
To your point,
Where are the
Reed,
things we can work in that are dependent?
Right.
And the other side of this is when we try to work backwards on the timeline, what we know is we don't have a lot of gaps. So the problem we've got is we keep losing a week because of reports late, or we lose a week. We don't have that many of those weeks we can give up. We've got to actually start gaining some time.
and we've already spent 3 times the amount of time on this project at this meeting. Whereas if we just had a concise 4 or 5 minute report out that identifies red flag items that we need to know about. And I'm just afraid it's going to be, next session is going to be the same thing. And there's going to be a lot of this. We need a person. I'm not going to let it go.
No,
Sorry.
and we know from the MDC negotiations that drop dead date, if we miss that date, there's gonna be additional costs to the town.
Yes.
And additional costs to water users that aren't anticipating those additional costs. They're looking for that well. So, you know, we have to do our due diligence as a board here to make sure that this thing, that we are clear, we have a clear understanding. We don't need to be known where they're drilling or what they're doing, but I would like to be able to every time they come to speak to us, I'd like to be able to look at the milestones and know we've accomplished 1 and 2. We're almost where we fall behind on 3. And what are you going to do about it to get us back on track? That's what we need.
All right. I hear everyone loud and clear.
Yeah, is Ryan still involved in the project?
He
Oh,
is not really anymore.
Okay,
Yeah, he's officially worried about his child on the way.
okay.
Yes. So, but Jason's been involved in the project since he come up.
Yeah,
and
I
he's-
think
and
we
he's more
gotta
capable.
get Rich in here.
Absolutely.
Because he's the one that's basically, I think, the box.
I think up until very recently, he'll be transitioning out because he's not bidding on the next stage. So, but we still need him. to
Yeah,
get
Which
that
is
stuff.
why we've got to open up the
Right.
bids and all that.
Absolutely, right. We still have to go through that process. So
What's, by the way, what's the date for the bid opening?
I believe it's a 10.
February 10, right?
Yeah, coming up quick, so. All right. Update on potential upgrades to the water and sewer. So there's one issue in talking to Jason, there's one issue that,
Well, what is WPCF? Why do we have, what does that stand for?
Water
Wastewater
pollution
pollution
control
control.
facility.
Oh, okay, thank you.
you're very welcome. So we talked about this last time about potential USDA money that was available for fixing the various projects down there, possible $10 million that could be loaned to the town if we get approved. One of the last things that they may need is an environmental study, which Jason is working right now to find out if that is mandatory or required for the application. The estimated cost of that is about $7,000. He did not have an answer today whether it was required or not from USDA. He should have an answer within the next couple days. Once he gets that, whether we need it or not, we as a board have to decide whether we want to approve the spending of that $7,000 to get that study done and submit that application in. My feeling is once we know, I think we don't need to say yes to it, but I think we need to know whether we qualify for that. At that point, if we do, we then have to make a decision whether or not we can afford that. Does it make sense? But we certainly need to do more discussion. But that right now is what's stopping any application to see if we even qualify or whether we even qualify for up to $10 million. Now,
And that's
the
the-
need from the
Cross grant.
well, and the way that it is right now, they said, don't get your hopes up too high, but we as a town have a lot of things going for us. Some are great and some some are helpful in kind of a backhanded way. So we need to make sure it's qualified. But yes, if it's some grant money, that would be great. But is the need there? Absolutely. Are they kind of fixing it somehow miraculously at times? Yes, they're doing miracles down there to keep it going. So, but that one, once we know that, that'll come to the board. If I need to do an emergency meeting for that, if it's something that urgent, I will let you know and we'll call that. But that's being looked at actively right now. So I think I think I speak for everyone that we all know we need it down there. I think it's something that is worth us applying for, and then the decision will be can we do it? Can we afford it? So.
Have they gotten anywhere on shutting off the storm water that's going into the plant?
They're actively looking at that. There are certain costs we could reline some of the piping down there. They know most of the locations where that's happening, but not all, so they're looking at that and trying to get a more definitive one. They ideally would love to roll it into, if they can get some funding or some grant money, that would be one of the projects they'd like to do. But they're looking, because it's budget time right now, they're looking at is there money they could spend now to get some of that done or minimize, the worst part of it. So it's being looked at actively. There's a lot of brain power working on it now. All right, any other questions on that? All right, status and committee reports. To my left.
Just Parks and Rec and Water and Sewer next week, so I'm planning to attend.
No updates on meetings other than as the liaison, I'll be at the meeting tomorrow night for the building committee discussion at the Board of Education.
The only update I have is I attended the Senior Citizen Advisory Board. They reappointed Elaine Cody as the chair and accepted a new member. They went over a few things, a lot of the great work Sarah's doing, and she's speaking at an aging conference and bringing in something with veterans that they're working with veterans to present benefits that are available. A lot of things. She's bringing a lot of great programs into the senior center. A lot of discussion though, and I know that I think it's something that the board previously, before my time, has heard and or discussed, and I think that's why we had River Valley Transit come here. Big discussion about that with the group, just about the whole ride thing and the use of that versus the town drivers that do, and that River Valley not being as effective perhaps as people would like. So is that what sort of precipitated that presentation?
Part of it is, our residents like our bus, they like what we do.
Right, but we
And
only have so much.
We only have so much, and if they had a choice, they would use that all the time because they like the drivers, there's a
Right.
relationship. The reality is the other source that we pay for right now.
Right.
They have concierge service directly to the doctor that's affordable, and in many cases faster. But it's hard changing people's habits. So that's part of it is behaviors, and we're trying to encourage use of that.
Mike,
and-
wait, I'm sorry, I apologize for interrupting. I just don't want to lose the thread on that. Which service are you saying is
River
fast?
Transit.
That's
I'll
the
tell you,
dial a
I will
ride.
tell you, I think it's actually the opposite.
Mhm.
I think when our drivers with the service, we expanded, I think this board expanded it last year. And I've talked with Sarah exactly about this and how helpful that's been. But when our drivers take people there, they bring them right back. We have problems and it's been reported that what I've heard is that drivers will drop the folks off for the river drivers, the transit. And then the people have to call when they're ready to come back. And there's sometimes we have some of our residents that are waiting a very long time for that driver to come back and pick them up. It's not a good, if you've got an elderly person who's waiting an hour and a half, 2 hours, 2.5 hours for a ride to come back, because it had to go and fulfill some others first, versus the service that we expanded and are offering. I think we've really got to look at that and say, how should we be allocating our dollars and where can we have the greatest impact especially for the folks that are shut in? Okay, because that is a problem. And if you tell you what, you can talk with Sarah about that directly, or she can come and talk. But I don't know, Bob. I mean, we talked a lot about this last year. I assume you're hearing some similar stories, but
I've been in talks with Sarah about stuff, and I'll leave it for budget season, but I think us contributing to the dial ride is a complete waste of town money. We would be better off keeping it in-house, getting another vehicle for ourselves and hiring another driver. I think it's a complete waste of money using that program.
So dial-a-ride, when you say that, is that just, that's a part of the services that they provide, that guy came and talked to us
Yeah.
about? Because
Yes.
the bus also, you know, we
It's,
would
it's
still
two separate funds.
like,
We subsidize the bus and then we subsidize dial ride. One's $32,000 for dial ride
it could
and
be separate, so if.
it is separate. And then the bus service, we subsidize, I think it's $12,000 or
something-
$16,000.
Job or something.
Yes, to keep them coming into town and having bus stops.
Suggesting all of that it can be divided out.
No, I think the dial ride part of it is we're wasting our own money giving it to them.
I think the service we're offering in-house is a lot better than the dial-a-ride, and
Yes.
we can expand that with our dollars.
Okay.
I think the other service that with the bus that allows, you know, more able-bodied folks to get to work and things like
Mhm.
that we would still need to keep.
It should.
But,
If
yeah.
we reduced that, he told us in the meeting, our bus routes would disappear or be almost non-existent. They only have so many bus stops and go so far in town because
Yeah.
we pay them the extra money.
So we have to look at that.
Yeah, okay. Well, anyway, there was a lot of conversation about that, so you guys have heard it, but
Yes.
that's still continuing. is the
Yep.
point.
Yes. And budget season coming up, we get to talk about.
Okay,
Figure out what the best way to do that is, so,
that's all I have.
all right, very good. Dave?
Yeah, no.
Housing Authority, their next meeting's on the 17th and Planning and Zoning on the 11th, so I got nothing new versus what we talked about 2 weeks ago.
Got it.
Nothing new.
Nothing, no, gotcha. All right, public comments. Come on up again.
Welcome back, Norm.
Norm Iman, also Road. Question on the solar. We can put up a portion of it in the landfill. And then they're saying we need to go somewhere else to put up the other percentage?
Yeah, well, it's basically, it's a principle, because all it really is a billing construct. You generate the usage and the usage goes on to their grid, right? And so they don't have to get that electricity anywhere else. So when they meter it, they know how much has been generated. They just provide the credit for that to, in this case, a town account. So it doesn't matter if it's here or here. It's as long as it's tagged to the town account, whatever's generated here and here will basically save the town money.
They're
There
just,
are other states that actually have something, and I remember the term now called.
well, they're
community
just looking
solar.
for another project
Yeah,
that they can add that much solar panels to,
yeah,
and it'll be credited to the town.
yeah.
But can't we at some point add to that at the landfill?
The issue is not space in the landfill, because we've got the space. The issue is that the electrical grid to carry the amount of power that would be
From
generated
Sand Hill.
needs to be updated.
Yeah.
And Eversource has been supposed to be updating that for a few years. And it keeps getting pushed off their budget year after year. They found out that the upgrades that were supposed to support the deployment of the solar in 2026 have now been pushed off another year to 2027. So it's kind of, at this point, there's not a lot of confidence that they would even get done in 2027.
Could we eventually?
They could eventually.
Okay.
But the existing infrastructure that's there can handle 2/3 of the power, that up to 600.
Mhm.
So that's what we voted to go with, and then look at them
Right.
trying to move it somewhere else. So at least we can try to get all the impact before the funding. Basically, I think we have until the end of this year
Yes.
to get
Yes.
things moving.
Yeah.
So we're on a clock, and
Okay.
Eversource's schedule isn't gonna meet that clock.
Yeah, there's so much property there. It's a shame that we
Oh, it's a
can't
beautiful
keep,
place.
keep going.
Oh, yeah.
I completely agree. It's all the surrounding power grid and the limitation at
Right.
this point.
Right. One other question though is, down off of Pickering Street, who owns that solar array that's on the ground?
That's the lighting company.
The
That's
lighting company,
What lighting company?
the old Continental can or.
the old stone container. Yeah,
That's who owns it?
that's theirs for their building.
Okay, so they paid,
They,
somebody
they
to do the-
install it, they reap the benefits from it.
okay. I was just curious where that was going, because it almost looked like it went under the road and up towards Brainerd Place.
I thought it was standard nap. to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
I mean, it's sort of, they did an underground thing and all of a sudden it looked like there was a path going to Brainerd Place. So that's why I was sort of questioning whose it is. They seem to get that up pretty quick, but we can't get ours up. And then you said our wastewater system, our plant, right? I think you really need to look into that. I think there's got to be money put into that plan. I mean, there's a lot of, I mean, you got Brainerd Place, you're gonna have the Nordic Spa. I mean, you got a lot of stuff that's going down that way, and that plant's not in the best of shapes. So I think as a board, you really need to look at that.
And that's what the grant's intended to do. The grant's intended to expand it so we can run both halves at one time.
Yep.
But I think the point and the question that Bob asked is also important.
Right.
We've got a lot of water that is getting directed to it right now that shouldn't be.
Right.
That's using up some of that capacity, and we're seeing those spikes when it rains.
Okay.
So we need to get that separated from the plant, and then that'll help us.
Now that runoff didn't come from Brainerd when it started getting,
No. It's other.
so all of a sudden it just shows up?
No,
There's
it's been
stormwater
there.
connections that go into the sewer drains
Yeah.
that shouldn't be.
Okay,
So we're filtering rainwater,
right,
Yeah.
which shouldn't be.
Yep.
I get it.
and we've been doing it for decades, and no
Yeah.
one ever did anything about it.
It was supposed to,
Shame.
there was, I believe, several years ago now, or at least 10, some point ago, it was supposed to have been corrected, but it wasn't corrected
Never got
No.
corrected.
in several of these cases.
All right. Answer my questions. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other public comments?
I remember when they did all the plumbing over there, all the storm drains.
Anything online? All right, I see none. General informal discussion. So I'm gonna start this with, one of the issues I'd like to talk about is, and we talked about this a little bit last year, and we experienced that over the last year or so with some key positions in terms of, but with budget season coming up and salaries and, what we're paying some of our employees out there. Right now, in other towns, right now with the folks that we have, it's become a very competitive market. And I'll give you an example. With our public works director, we had almost a year, maybe a year and a quarter that we went without a public works director. And we used Ryan O'Halpern, our previous one, to kind of help us get through that, which was great. One of the things I discovered in trying to find someone to fill that position is that in some cases, in many cases, what we pay and what the going rate for some jobs out there has changed a lot over time. And this is more of a general discussion, but it's one of the challenges that we have with key positions when we lose people or when we add people out there. And I'm not saying that we need to make changes across the board, but I passed out to some of the costs with our employees that we have right now. I think it's worth discussing. I think we need to think about that as we're coming up on budget season, because we want to retain the best people. We want to make sure that we're competitive out there. We've lost people to the private market, to other towns. And of course, we have to do what we can afford. We have to make sure it makes sense. We have to make sure it's comparable to what we are as a town. A city's going to pay more for certain positions than a smaller town, et cetera. But it's at least something that we should think about. We've talked about that indirectly over the last year since I've been doing this on other positions as they come up. But I think it's worth putting it out there again as the budget season comes up. Bobby and I are in the process of going through negotiations right now and starting with all four unions. So we'll be talking about that with each one of them. So all four contracts are winding down now. So there's gonna be a lot of discussions of that. Part of the discussion right now with our budgets are also cost of insurance, which is also one of the factors right now that's coming in very high this year. So again, it's things that cost right now. We're looking at possibly a bond referendum for the schools. Money's a big deal, but again, not to throw something else into this whole pile, but the people that make the town run, the key positions in the town are something that we need to look at and be aware of and take into consideration as we go forward into the budget. So I just wanted to put that out there during discussions on here. We have an executive session coming up, but it's something that I wanted to get started here. So
You just struck on something too, Mike, the insurance issue that we're experiencing now.
yes.
Being the liaison with the Board of Ed, I mean, they had quite a discussion a couple meetings ago, where the superintendent said they had allocated an 8% increase for this year's budget, which they thought was a reasonable increase. And the insurance came through in the first cut, the first go around at a 27% increase. And I believe now, last I know, I think maybe they got it down to 21 and there's still negotiations going on. But I mean, you're a part of that as well, because this isn't just for the Board of Education. This is the medical for the town. And yeah, I think we're probably not the only town experiencing this with the medical expenses going through the roof. But I would like to maybe, if you can bring back some details for us at our next meeting, just give us an update on kind of like Charles did with the Board of Education, on where we are with the medical stuff. Because quite honestly, you know, when the folks in this town are going to be talking about the budget in another 6 weeks or so, I think it's important that they understand that, you know, that as I can see it, the budget is not anything frivolous. I mean, it's basically contractual raises. And it sounds like now it's going to be insurance. And I think we really we need to speak to it, just have you give us an update, because I think the folks that listen in need to have an understanding of what's driving this budget.
100%.
Yeah, because if you waterfall it right from this year to next year's budget and you took the number one driver, I can't think of anything that's going to be bigger than that.
No,
It's people cost.
Right?
It's salary and benefits.
It's the benefit
yeah,
portion.
yeah.
Right.
So, no, and I
the
just
number
think,
one.
I think it's fair, you know, again, being that transparency aspect of it. I think now we need to get an explanation at our next meeting so that people can begin to wrap their head around this whole concept of how this could impact our budget potentially.
And that's a perfect segue to speaking of budget. So March 2nd is the date that I will have the proposed budget for us to start negotiating. So less than a month from now. And we're already expecting to get the final answer on insurance before then, so I can factor in what we're going to do. So we are pushing to get that done. They're trying to lower that down as much as possible. You know, Charles has 13% as his best placeholder in there for that. But right now the real number is closer to 21%. And we're hoping that we can get it down there. So it's all these unknowns happening right now. And you know, we're trying to do everything we can to keep it as low as possible for the entire town. And that's going to be our charge too. When we start looking at these numbers, every one of us here, we need to look at every single line item in every single department, and we need to review how we do things and what can we combine in terms of the town and school side. You know, so we need to be creative this session more than ever to save some money, because there's a lot of upward pressure. So
Was there a point, I know we talked about pooling with the state, you know, basically strengthen numbers. Is there a way that we can possibly collaborate with other towns?
So we can buy into the state program, but that's still closer to 20%, 21%, which is the same place they're at right now. And we then become at the whim of whatever they do. We're now part of that process. And there's a certain time we have to be, I believe it's 3 years. And otherwise there's penalties for leaving.
Well, I think there's another question though we'd have to ask with that, is that if we were to do that, and understanding the costs, you know, initially would be a little bit more than what we're paying now, but if it starts to become comparable, how much better is the coverage? Right, because depending on what the pool is, if it's something that's going to give us a similar cost to what we're paying now, trying to do this on our own.
Right.
But yet the coverage would be able to provide our employees will be significantly better. We need to look at that as well, because that is all part of how we compensate our employees. And right now, I think there's a $5,000, the high deductible plan. I know the town, we offset part of that. But there's a significant burden that the employees pay. Right. So I think we need to look at the whole package and how we can and see what's going to make sense.
Yeah, that has not been taken off the table because we're still waiting for the numbers. So, but that is one of the options that's being looked at right now.
Yeah.
So it's and unfortunately, and what's I think frustrating about that is we had signed a 3-year contract with them last year. So it's very rare that after 1 year they came back with such an increase. So it has stood out. And there were some reasons they had given, which I can't share here, but it was. a
Sounds
surprise.
sounds like if there's some reasons you can't share here, that would be a really good thing for us, and not at this meeting, because it's not posted that way. But for us to get an idea with that in an executive session, we need to understand it. I know some stuff, because it's negotiations, isn't
Right.
public, but we need to understand that stuff.
Right, so, agreed, so. So I know, so I just want to get that conversation started.
Thank you.
All right, that's all I had. Anything else for informal discussion?
Just one question, there's that dinner, right? The dinner on Friday. Are they asked if some selectmen would.
Yes, so,
Do you have anything on that?
so,
Because I said I would do it, but I don't
And
know how.
I mentioned it before we started. I go to St. Mary's and I know the nights I'm a member, so I asked them last meeting what time they needed us there.
Right.
It starts at 4 o'clock. They said if we could get there for 3:30, because we're, any number of us that are involved are gonna be serving tables
Yeah.
so 3:30 is the time they want us there.
For the whole entire time?
Yeah, whatever time we can give.
I'm planning it.
I'm planning to do
I'm planning
it.
for the
Well, if my back holds out. Speaking of that.
Speaking of that.
Speaking of that.
All right, so just get to
My walk.
church
Yeah, church at 3:30. It's in the church hall.
That's in the back.
Okay.
Right.
That's all.
Be quality control.
And just, and
Make
again,
sure we're
for
doing our
those,
job.
for anybody that might be listening, this is the benefit spaghetti dinner
I don't.
for
Yep.
Courtney Fritzky,
There you go.
our youth services coordinator.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, I just have a couple dates, to throw out there as a reminder. We have a Veterans Education Workshop on March 16th at the Senior Center. I spoke to someone from the Newington VA that's gonna come in and help veterans get the services they deserve. Evidently, only 40% of veterans get services. The 60% of veterans do not get any services at all. So they'll be there. I don't have the specific time. I believe it's in the morning time, but that'll be for veterans out there. Andy tells me the Easter egg hunt is March 28th. I believe that is.
That's early.
Yeah, so that's what he has so far. The 250 committee is putting on a picnic at Riverfront Park on May 16th. Details to follow as well. This one I'm excited about as well. On May 29th, on a Friday night, we're starting farmers markets again in Portland. We will be doing it at the field next to the town hall. It'll be from 3 to 6 p.m. on Friday nights, the last Friday of each month from May through October. We're excited about that. The people that tried to get it going last year just ran out of time, but we just kind of plugged it into the schedule. If it goes well this year, then we may add it, make it weekly next year. But a lot of interest from our town farms and other crafters in town. So that'll be May 29th. On the 30th, the Brownstone Corps is doing their craft fair, I believe. That's a Saturday. So news to follow on that. Last day of school, John, when is it? Do you remember? Last day of school, June 17th.
My kids have all graduated.
June 17th.
June 17th,
June
last day of
17th.
school.
Speaking of graduations, I got a college graduation to go to
Wow.
Congratulations.
on May
No more college
May
bills?
16th. Thank you.
Last college bill, right? Other day too, May 11th. If all goes well, that will be also the budget vote for the town. So we have a lot of work to do between now and May 11th. So, only thing else I'll add, last thing, every month I get the numbers now from the police in terms of the number of incidences or cases that they go on, that they go to. Could be a check for a business. It could be a problem that someone calls with. So last month they did 552 over the month. That's about 10% more than the previous month. So they're doing a lot of stops, a lot of visits. Number of arrests last month was 22. Typically it's only a couple. So they have been active out there pursuing, I guess, the bad guys and getting things done out there. So they post that on the website, on the Portland Police website as well with more details. But for the big numbers every month, I will report back what they're doing out there. So some people have asked, and I wanted to make sure they knew. So that's all I have right now. Follow-up items, ethics ordinance, we talked about that. We will tackle that at a future time, but with the town charter review, we spoke about that last one. After we're done with the cycle in June, it will be on the agenda. We will set up a committee and we will get working on that right away. We just had expressed that last time that we just have a great deal to do between now and then, and we want to get that focused and started and done starting in June. So with that, I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session.
I'll second that motion.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Me.
Sean.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right. You can turn off. Yep.